Okay, we're going to go get started, and before we do, I'm going to open this up in prayer with invocation, please. Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we just come before you tonight and just thank you for this awesome week and this beautiful weather that you've created for us. And Lord, as we come before this time of the business meeting of the county, we just ask for your presence, and we ask for your blessings. And Lord, just thank you for those that are here with us in attendance tonight and for those that are watching. And Lord, we have many people in our community that are sick and under the weather, and a few in the hospital. And Lord, we just ask a special prayer for them, that you would restore their health and bring them back to us, Lord. And just thank you for all that you do for us. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. If you'll stand, we'll pledge to our American flag and then to our Georgia flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Then our Georgia state flag. I pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag and to the principles for which it stands, wisdom, justice, and moderation. Thank you all. May be seated. Okay, at this time I'll call this meeting to order, and we'll ask our clerk to call the roll for a quorum, please.
Commissioner Blakemore.
Present.
Commissioner Askew.
Here.
Chairman Whitfield.
Here.
Commissioner Hart.
Here.
Commissioner Stoltz.
Present.
Okay, thank you. All members are present at this time. Board, we have an agenda here in front of you, which tonight includes a public hearing that has been advertised in the paper that is required upon this board to have this public hearing. And then we have some action items on this. So at this time, we'll move for anyone of the board for a motion to approve this agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Stoltz.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Blakemore. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Agenda's approved as presented. Okay, at this time we have a public hearing on the issuance of a revenue bond by the Development Authority. And I will read this notification here so those watching or those who may not be familiar with this. This is notice of public hearing on proposed revenue bond financing by the Development Authority of Walker County for the benefit of Gateway at Rossville LP. You're hereby notified that on March the 11th, 2021 at 7 p.m. at the Walker County Courthouse Annex 3 at 201 South Main Street, Lafayette, Georgia, 30728, a public hearing will be held with respect to the issuance of the Development Authority of Walker County, the issuer of a revenue bond or notes in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $19 million, the bonds. The proceeds of the bonds will be loaned to Gateway at Rossville LP or any affiliate thereof, the company, for the purpose of financing the acquisition, construction, furnishing of equipment of the rental housing community for seniors to be located at 2478 Happy Valley Road, Rossville, Georgia, as well as funding any reserves and paying costs for issuance related to the bond, collectively the project. The bonds will not constitute an indebtedness or obligation of the state of Georgia or any county, municipal corporation, or political subdivision thereof, but will be payable solely from the revenues derived from the company pledged to the payment thereof. Any person interested in the proposed issuance of this bond may appear to be heard to the Development Authorities. So at this time, the folks with this project, would y'all like to come forward and give us a little overview of this, or do you have any comments or anything at this time? If you don't, that's fine.
Well, certainly say hello. I'm David Williams.
Yeah, if you would come up to the podium, I'm sorry, so everybody can see you and state your name.
Good evening. My name is David Williams, and I'm a bond attorney in Atlanta with a law firm called Butler Snow, and have been working with the company and the Development Authority on the project, and are certainly happy to answer any questions that any members have about the bond issue. As we said in the notice, the debt is not a debt whatsoever of the county, the city, and is 100% pass-through obligation of the owner of the community to repay the debt.
Okay. All right, thank you. Does anyone in the public, anyone here that wanted to come up and speak or ask questions on this? If so, we could recognize you at this time. If anyone here that wants to come up. Okay, hearing and seeing none, does anyone among our board have any questions or comments at this time?
I do not.
Okay, anything? Okay, well, thank you for being here.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All righty. And again, this doesn't create any obligation or any debt to Walker County, nor the Walker County Development Authority, nor any of our city partners that participates. This is just a pass-through to support this project without creating any obligations locally. Okay, at this time we will close out then our public hearing. And at this time, before the board is the approval of the minutes of our regular scheduled meeting held back on February the 25th of 2001. In the packets, we do have these minutes for everyone to review. And at this time, I'll ask the board if we have a motion to approve these minutes from our last meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Blakemore and a second by Commissioner Askew. Any further discussion or concerns with these minutes? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll sign these into our record as approved. Okay. And at this time, we did this 2 weeks ago, and I think that helped it out to kind of manage everyone's time well, but we have moved our public comment forward. So at this time, if there's anyone from our audience, from the community that would like to come before the podium at this time and speak, we'd love for you to come on up. And if you would give us your name, please, for the record, and we will give you up to 5 minutes to speak.
My name is Karen Bradley. I have a few questions, and then I have a statement at the bottom to make. And one is, why does Walker County use A1 as a blanket cover zoning for nearly every type of enterprise coming into our county? 2, why is A1 should be protecting agriculture, not be giving permission to subdivisions or agencies like Healthy Foundations, North Georgia Healthcare Center, or the City of Refuge without first rezoning it to use when they are changing the total layout of the land and taking it totally out of agricultural production. These types of agencies should be rezoned commercial or something else, but not agriculture. Walker County should be using A1 as a way to protect agriculture and the agricultural community as it stands. Not giving agencies like these that I've mentioned a free ride to tear up the land any way they wish or to put non-agricultural commodities on it and to get out of paying certain taxes. My statement to you directly is one of the people that is heading this up for this agency, and we know what agency we're talking about, is no other than the man that went around with you putting your political signs up and taking them down when you ran as head commissioner.
So what is the question exactly?
That wasn't a question, that was a statement.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And that's what I've got to say. I just want y'all to address how I mentioned this. Because when you take agricultural land and revise it, normally it is taking it out of one production and put it into another, whether it's taking it out of trees and putting it into grass, taking it out of cropland and put it into pasture land, put it into hayland, whatever. That is agricultural land. But when you're putting a healthcare facility, a rehab facility, or whatever else they want to call themselves there, That is not agriculture. And I've dealt with agriculture all my life. I grew up in it. That's all I know. And the farms that are around this place has had 112 years in one single family. Another family has been there since 1936, and another family since 1939. We know the history of this farm. We know the history of this place. I was born in this building, and I've never worked more than probably 2 or 3 blocks away from this building in my entire life. And I'm furious of the groundbreaking that came today. That's all I've got to say.
Chairman, so
Yes, sir.
Ms. Bradley mentioned the groundbreaking that happened today, and I talked to her a couple of days ago about that, and I contacted David Brown about it. So just so that people understand what's going on there now is the group that's looking to build is doing some drilling out there. And they're drilling 17 wells, because David forwarded me the drawing that he did. And they're drilling those wells to determine where the groundwater is and where the bedrock is and what type of soil is there, so they can develop a grading plan for the site. And David has permitted them to do that. The EPD will be here next week to see the work that they're doing and ensure that it's in compliance. So that's why the drilling is going on right now, according to David Brown. I can't speak towards the zoning. I know when we first talked about it, they told us it was zoned A1, and I'll defer to the lawyer, but being it is zoned A1, it is permitted to do what they want to do there based on our current zoning laws, and that was looked at by a few different lawyers. Is that correct?
That is correct. And you have to go with the zoning as it was in effect on the day of the acquisition. And that was all of we looked at all of their proposed uses individually, and all of them were permitted under A1 as of that date. And we really don't have a choice. If a property owner is using property that is properly zoned, the county cannot prohibit it. You know, maybe I think what you might be suggesting is in the future adjusting what qualifies for A1. But ma'am, as of the date in question, it was a permitted use.
Thank you.
I'd like to add something to this.
Sure, go ahead.
Ms. Bradley, I would like to add too that we are, since the board has come in and convened, we are looking at, through planning and zoning and with the planning commission, on revamping and looking hard at our ordinances as they are, and that's happening as we speak. And so we hope to actually be bringing some things to the board and looking at some things in the very near future, but we are addressing and looking at uses, zonings, conditional uses, and all of that would be involved in that. So we are trying to take a look at it now and try to revamp and look at some things that will help us to preserve our agricultural land and to permit industry and growth in the county. So just bear with us on that, and you'll be seeing some things come out.
Also, too, the permitted uses under agriculture has not changed in Walker County in quite some time. So I think having a review and having the planning and zoning look at that, because I don't know every detail of that because I've not gone back and studied it, but I would venture to say it's probably been a couple of decades since those provisional uses or in agriculture has been modified. I'd say it's been probably 10 to 20 years that it's been that way. And so as the attorney stated, to the date that they bought the property, those permitted uses were listed as A1. And so there's not been any zoning change, there's not been any requests for any zoning changes. They bought the property knowing that they had the guidelines from the county, that they'd done their homework, and that was a permitted use at the time they bought the property. Anyone else at this time? Okay, we're going to move forward. And we do have some, one unfinished item here. This will be Resolution R-006-21. This is a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Walker County to appoint the Board of Commissioners clerk. So the resolution reads, whereas the Board of Commissioners of Walker County Board is the governing authority of Walker County, Georgia, and whereas Section 14 of the Enabling Act legislation creating the board provides that the board is authorized to appoint a clerk to keep the proper and accurate book of the minutes, and whereas the board wishes to exercise the power, and in doing so appoints a part-time Board of Commissioners clerk. Therefore, be it resolved that the board does hereby appoint, we'll insert a name, to serve as its clerk. So resolved and appointed the 11th day of March 2021. So, Commissioner Stoltz, I think you were the one heading up
Yes, sir.
this, or would you got
Yes, sir.
anything to present tonight?
We have appointed Miss Whitney Summy, who is at the back of the room. Stand up and say hey. And Commissioner Hart and myself and Miss Wooden, we conducted interviews, and she had a stellar resume. She is very motivated and wants to serve her county, and I think she will do a wonderful job as a board clerk. And I think she will be a true asset to our staff and will do a great job for us.
Okay, so at this time, do you make that in a form of a motion?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Very good, and so we'll need a second from the board on that motion.
I'll make a second.
Okay, so we have a second. Any further discussion or comments from the board at this time?
No, sir.
All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we have us a new part-time board clerk. We'll have our clerk test that for the record. Okay, under new business, a resolution R-010-21 to authorize Walker County Tax Commissioner to waive penalties or interest for unpaid Avalorum taxes. Under this resolution, the Board of Commissioners of Walker County, Georgia authorize Walker County Tax Commissioner to waive penalties or interest on unpaid Avalorum taxes, whereas there are certain cases where it is in the best interest of Walker County for the Walker County Tax Commissioner to waive penalties or interest due to unpaid Avalorum taxes, and whereas OCGA Section 48-5-241 authorizes said waivers upon written approval by the governing authority of the county. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Walker County, in accordance with the provision of OCGA 48-5-242, hereby authorize the tax commissioner to waive in whole or in part the collections of any penalties or interest due of Avalorum tax when the tax commissioner reasonably determines that the default giving rise to the penalties and interest was due to reasonable cause and not due to gross or unwillful neglect or disregard of the law or the regulations or instructions issued pursuant to the law. Notwithstanding the above, the total dollar amount of said waiver exceeds, and we'll talk about a dollar amount, then the tax commissioner must obtain pre-approval of the total amount of the waiver of the board from the board, waiver from the Board of Commissioners. In this case, the penalties or interest arising from the failure of a taxpayer to comply with the terms, conditions, or covenants requested with respect to the property receiving any type of preference assessment, the tax commissioner shall not be authorized to waive any portion of the penalty or interest that represents a recovery by a taxing authority of any amount by which taxes were reduced as a result of granting of such preferential assessment. So resolved the 11th of March. So at this time, before the board here, if you want to move forward with this, we would need to I guess, have a motion that would also include what the excess amount up to would be, so we can fill in that portion.
I'd like to speak to this.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman. After speaking with Commissioner Hart in a meeting that we were in, I reached out to our tax commissioner just to kind of get a feel for what the need was. And having no idea at the time, I didn't know what kind of numbers we were talking about, but and have the utmost confidence in our tax commissioner to use great judgment as she has for many years for us. I would like to make a motion to move this forward and put a dollar amount of $2,500 and not to exceed that without coming to the board. So anything that would be under the amount of a $2,500 reduction, and that's a little more than what standard, what she needed, but I think we can go ahead and safely do that and let her use her judgment, or whoever the tax commissioner may be in the future. I'd like to set that $2,500 and make a motion that we approve this resolution.
Okay, so we do have a motion by Commissioner Askew to allow the tax commissioner to approve waivers up to $2,500. So we have a second by Commissioner Blakemore. Any additional discussion or questions, concerns from the board? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. This passes unanimously. Okay. At this time, we have our resolution R1121, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Walker County to approve the issuance of a revenue bond by the Development Authority of Walker County, whereas at the least 7 days' notice published in the Walker County Messenger, a public hearing was held at the Walker County Courthouse, Annex 3 at 201 South Main Street, Lafayette, Georgia, 30728, on March the 11th, 2021 at 7 p.m., concerning a proposed issuance by the Development Authority of Walker County, the authority of the revenue bond, the bonds in the maximum principal amount not to exceed $19 million, whereas the proceeds of the sale of the proposed bond, when and if issued, are to be used along with other funds for the benefit of the Gateway at Rossville, LP, Georgia Limited Partnership, the borrower, to 1, acquire, construct, furnish, and equip approximately 156-unit multifamily housing community, the project. 2, fund reserves, and 3, pay all or portions of costs of issuing the bond. Whereas the project will be located at 2478 Happy Valley Road, Rossville, Georgia, and will be owned by the borrower and operated by the borrower and its affiliates. And whereas the proposed bond, when and if issued, will not be an obligation of Walker County, the county, or the state of Georgia, or any county, municipal, or political subdivision of the state of Georgia. The proposed bond will not be paid from taxes, but will be payable by the authority solely from the amount to be paid or provided by the borrower. And no performance audit or performance review shall be conducted with respect to such bond or issue. And whereas Section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, as amended the code, provides in effect that in order for the interest of the proposed bonds to be excluded from the holder's gross income for federal income tax purposes, the public approval requires that said action must be complied with. And whereas location of the project is entirely within the county, and the Board of Commissioners of the county, the board constitutes an elected legislative body of the county and is the proper body for granting the necessary public approval. And whereas authority has requested that the board approve the issuance of the bond for the purpose stated above, the nature and location of the project and the plans of financing for the project with the bonds. And whereas the board finds and determines that it is in the public interest of the county to grant such approval. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the Walker County as followed. Section 1, the issuance of the bond by the authority for the benefit of the borrower in the maximum principal amount not to exceed $19 million for the above described proposed in nature of the location of the project and financing for the project described above and hereby approved for the purpose of Section 147F of the Code. Section 2, such approval by the board does not constitute any representation by the county to the prospective purchaser of the bonds as to the credit worthiness of the borrower or the economic feasibility of the project, nor does it create either expressly or implication any obligation of the part of the county for the payment of the bonds or debt service thereon. Such bonds and debt service therefore being payable solely from the source described above. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption. So resolved in adoption the 11th day of March 2021. So do we have any questions or discussion from the board on this resolution? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve this resolution?
Motion to approve resolution R-011-21.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Stoltz. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
We do have a second from Commissioner Askew. Any further discussion of the board? Hearing none, all board members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, this resolution passes unanimously. Okay, Resolution R-1221, appointments to the Planning Commission. Resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Walker County to appoint members of the Walker County Planning Commission, whereas the Board of Commissioners of Walker County Board is the governing authority of Walker County, Georgia, and whereas one of the duties delegated to the chairman of the board is to appoint members to all of the committees of the board with the approval of the board, and whereas vacancies exist due to the resignation of Scott McNabb and Philip Cantrell, and whereas Chairman Whitfield submitted the following appointments to serve as the members of the Walker County Planning Commission. Michael Hicks for a term ending on December 31st, 2023. Cindy Askew for the term ending on December 31st, 2021. Whereas Michael Hicks and Cindy Askew are duly qualified to serve as members of the Planning Commission and have expressed a willingness to serve the people of Walker County in such capacity. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Walker County, that the appointment of Michael Hicks and Cindy Askew are approved, so resolved and adopted the 11th day of March 2021. So I move this in form of a motion. Do we have a second for this approval?
I'll make a second.
We have a second of the board from Commissioner Blakemore. Any further discussion of the board? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, these are approved. Okay, Resolution R-1321, appointment of the Walker County Historic Preservation Commission. Before I read this one, just a little background on this. This is an actual board commission that was put in place back, I forget the date, 10 or 12 years ago, something like that. And this board just kind of, well, actually it's a commission, a Historic Preservation Commission, just kind of become dormant, just kind of fell apart. There was no activity. All the board members' terms had expired. And so what this is doing is to rekindle this Historic Preservation Commission and get a group of folks working on this in conjunction with some grant opportunities that we have identified. And those grant opportunities work in conjunction with a Historic Preservation Commission. So this resolution states the Board of Commissioners of Walker County to appoint members of the Walker County Historic Preservation Commission, whereas the Board of Commissioners of Walker County, the board, is the governing authority of Walker County, Georgia, and whereas one of the duties delegated to the chairman of the board is to appoint members to all the committees of the board with the approval of the board, and whereas vacancies exist due to the expiration of term, whereas Chairman Whitfield submitted the following appointments to serve as members of the Walker County Historic Preservation Commission. Teresa Dorsey for the term ending of December 31st, 2021. Renee Griffin for the term ending December 31st, 2022. John Culpepper for the term ending December 31st, 2022. Alvin Slavin for the term ending December 31st, 2022. Francis Cobb for the term ending on December 31st of 2023. Randall Pittman for the term ending December 31st, 2023. Patrick Cook for the term ending of December 31st, 2023. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Walker County, Georgia, that the appointments of Teresa Dorsey, Renee Griffin, John Culpepper, Alvin Slavin, Francis Cobb, Randall Pittman, and Patrick Cook are approved. So resolved and appointed the 11th day of March 2021. Also with this, since this is a large board and we're restarting this board, I did collaborate and reach out with all the district commissioners and ask them for their recommendations. So this reads that this is, appointments, but this has been done in a team fashion, teamwork of everybody. So we made sure that we had representation from all 4 districts and that we had a diverse group of folks in this to represent the county and bring a broad level of experience and knowledge to this board for this Historic Preservation Commission. So at this time, I'll move for this in a form of a motion. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second by Commissioner Hart. Any further discussion or comment on these appointments? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries, so we will sign this, and we appreciate these members being willing to serve and get this this commission going again for us. Hopefully we'll see some great things come out of that. Okay, we have some purchase orders here tonight. Purchase order 2021-871 to the Municipal Emergency Service for extrication equipment for the fire department for Station 7 in Fairview for the total of $32,873.99. So since this exceeds our threshold of $25,000, we do bring these before the public so we can share with the public and give explanation of how we're investing your tax dollars for the betterment of our community. So at this time, I've asked Chief Blake Hodge if he would come up and just give us an overview of this and then be prepared to answer any questions that may come up.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. The purchase order request is, again, is for extrication equipment, which is a 3-piece set of tools. It's a spreader, it's a cutter, and it's a ram that's utilized in the event a patient in a motor vehicle accident becomes entrapped due to the entanglement of the vehicle. This equipment's utilized. It's better known to the public as the jaws of life, if you will. So it's used to gain mechanical advantage on the vehicle to extricate patients out of the vehicle to, as quickly as possible, get them to the medical center. So this we have a total of 9 sets in the county. However, a lot of those sets are beyond 20 years of life and they're pieced together. The newest set, there were 6, based on the records I can find, the newest sets we have are 19 years old. So Chairman Whitfield and I, several years ago, started working on a plan to try to get the fire department's budget in line to start making equipment purchases. And that happened this past fiscal year, the fiscal year we're in. So I'm very thankful and fortunate that we have that capital line item to do this, because we're going to need to make these purchases on extrication equipment for several years to start replacing in the near future. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have about any equipment.
Are all of our firefighters trained in extrication?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They come out of the graduate recruit class with a basic knowledge and use of the hydraulic or hydraulic tools, And then we also, in our professional development, have advanced courses that they take as they advance through the ranks. So they do, we use several of local individuals that have automobiles that they allow us to practice on and train on. And we did put a working group together and demoed several sets of tools. Hearst, the hydraulic from Hearst was what the firefighters chose as the tool, and both economically and the functionality of it. So, and the warranty with it. So, but we did look at several different brands and models.
Chief, you said something interesting there. You said that the firefighters helped you. So that's something that's interesting to me, that we take it to that level with our training. You let these guys that are actually going to be the hands-on guys using it take and sample different ones and say, hey, this is the set that we feel are most comfortable or can operate the best and going to get the job done. So hats off to that and to the guys that work on that. And I think that's an attestament to the due diligence that we need to see in equipment purchases and things like that. So appreciate that from you and you guys.
Thank you.
Any other questions? And again, it's just to reiterate that Chief Hodge mentioned, this was a budgeted line item, so we do have these funds available in our current FY21 budget. We're not taking on any debt. We're paying cash for this. And so if the board approves this here tonight, we'll release this purchase order and get this equipment immediately. Yes, sir.
One other note that's in there. This equipment will be assigned to Station 7 in Fairview, which was staffed 24 hours, 24/72, or excuse me, 24 hours, 365, which is every day, every hour of the day, in August of last year. So this is much needed equipment there. We don't want to pull. We've got some of the older equipment on top of the mountain and a couple of outlying volunteer stations. We don't want to pull any of that because they can get there quicker than some of our career stations with that equipment. So that's where it's going to be assigned.
So currently, there's not this type of equipment even at that station?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, so do we have a motion to approve this purchase order?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Blakemore. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Stoltz. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll approve this purchase order. Okay, the next purchase order is 2021-913 for two Ford Explorers, 4x4 for the emergency management, 911, in our IT department as well. These vehicles are under the government contracted price. These are 2021 Ford Explorer 3.3 liter V6 engines at $29,432.88 a piece. There is the accompanying window sticker of these that show the options and the details. This is from Prater Ford. These are some vehicles that they have in production. These vehicles are not available yet to the dealer, but they are in production, which will be in transit soon. Jackie Newby, our one of our IT guys, his vehicle actually went down back last year, and we actually sold it in the sale. It was beyond repair. Also, Curtis Creekmore's vehicle went down a few weeks ago with both engine and transmission issues, and it was deemed it wasn't feasible to repair those. That vehicle as well. Just wasn't cost justified due to the age of the vehicle and the mileage of the vehicle. So at this time, I want to present these two purchase orders, see if we have a motion to approve these for these.
I got a question. So,
yes, sir.
So the last item, the budgeted line item, is this the same, or is this the item that Chief Hodge spoke about? In other words, was this budgeted on this year's budget?
Oh, yes. Okay, I understand your question.
Okay.
Yes, we do have some capital funds in our budget for vehicle purchases, so this is not a splosh purchase. Right. This is coming out of our general fund budget. Okay. So we do have budgeted funds, and again, we will be paying cash for these upon delivery, so there's not any debt or financing on these vehicles. Good question. I should have covered that. Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the purchase order?
Yes, sir, I'll make a motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hart. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Stoltz. Any further concerns, questions, or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, purchase order is approved. Okay. Next purchase order is purchase order 2021-914 for 2 Ford F-150 4x4 trucks. One will be issued to the Animal Control Department and one to Public Works. Also, you have the window sticker there attached. These are 2021 F-150 4x4 Super Cab with a 3.3 liter engine as well, automatic transmissions. These trucks have proven to be very good in the type of service we use and hold up very well. Our Public Works Superintendent, Carlin Bowers, one of the vehicles would be issued to him. He has got the best out of his vehicle that he had been using, and it finally died at a little over 308,000 miles. So after 308,000 miles, that's as far as we could push it. So the engine has gone out on it, and then this would be also an additional truck for the animal control where we're adding an additional position there and separating animal control out from under our planning and zoning office and creating that new management role, and so that would create a vehicle for them as well. So each of these vehicles is $26,950.76. This is in our general FY 2021 budget. This is not splosh dollars. These are general fund dollars that were set up for capital vehicle purchases in this year. Again, there will be no financing. These vehicles will pay for those in cash as well upon time of delivery. Is there any questions, concerns, or comments on the trucks?
Coming from the same Ford dealership, Prater?
Yeah, coming from Prater Ford as well. They don't have these on stock either. They are in production. They had pre-bought some vehicles, and so they are forthcoming. So we're going to be a few weeks out on all 4 of these.
Question, so like you said, we're going to be paying for these for cash when we've got the money set aside for it. Now this is straight from the factory. As far as any upgrades that we'll need to do for the animal control or like for Public Works, I know Carlin, you know, he's for strobes and things we've got funding that we'll be able to outfit them the way that they need to be outfitted for.
Yes, yeah, they'll need bed liners and the lights and all that they need. Okay. The animal control will need a box on it. So this is just the actual truck itself. Right. So but that additional equipment cost is pretty minor. Okay. But yeah, we will need to set them up appropriately. Good question. Any other concern or question on this? All right, hearing none, do we have a motion to approve this purchase order?
Motion to approve purchase order.
I have a motion from Commissioner Stoltz. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second by Commissioner Blakemore. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, this motion's approved. Okay, the next item that we have here is a Criminal Justice Coordinating Council grant. Our Justice Center has been very successful over the time of attaining many federal grants. These are a pass-through through the Commissioner's office because we handle all of their budgeting and financing and paying of their bills and all, and so that's why this comes through the Commissioner's office. But the folks in these departments work on these and apply for these every year. And so this is a federal grant for grant period of January 1, 2021 through September 30th of 2023 for $84,000, and there's no matching funds for this. This is strictly federal funds coming to Walker County to be used appropriately in our judicial system. And so we just manage the dollars for them. Is there any questions, concerns, or comments on this, receiving these funds? All right, do we have a motion to approve this grant?
I'll make a motion to approve the grant.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Blakemore. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Askew. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll sign this. All right, we have a proclamation. I knew we'd get to y'all on the list eventually. Appreciate y'all being here today. By the chairman of the Walker County, by the chairman of the Walker County, Georgia, a proclamation for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Whereas the Sexual Assault Awareness Month is intended to draw attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and has public health implications in every community member of Walker County. And whereas rape, sexual assaults, sexual harassment impacts our community, as seen by statistics indicating that 1 in 5 women have experienced sexual assault by the time they complete college, and this is from a study of Fisher, Coleman, and Tucker of 2000. And whereas we must work together to educate our community about what can be done to prevent sexual assault and how to support survivors, and whereas staff and volunteers of an anti-violence program in Walker County encourages every person to speak out when witnessing acts of violence, however small, and whereas with leadership direction and encouragement, there is compelling evidence that we can be successful in reducing sexual violence in Walker County through prevention, education, increased awareness, and holding those who commit acts of violence responsible for their action. Therefore, I, Shannon K. Whitfield, Chairman of the Walker County Board of Commission, do hereby proclaim April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in Walker County and ask every citizen to join anti-sexual violence advocates and support service programs being a part of the solution to end sexual violence. Signed and sealed the 11th day of March 2021, Chairman Shannon Whitfield. And so we have some folks here. Would y'all like to come up and speak and add any additional comments or anything?
Good evening. I'm Christy Lawson, and I'm the Executive Director for the Sexual Assault Victims Advocacy Center. Sorry, that's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful.
So we serve Walker, Dade, and Catoosa counties, and we provide advocacy to sexual assault victims, human trafficking, stalking, and dating violence. We provide more than just advocacy, but we provide hospital accompaniment, forensic medical exams, and of course advocacy and counseling, and a lot more. One thing that I like to point out is one of our jobs also is to educate the community and to bring awareness. So 3 out of 4 assaults go unreported. So that's our job, is to try to reach those victims that don't want to report. and let them know that there's still services that we can provide them. So thank you. We are going to have a walk in April 23rd. It's on a Friday from 11 to 1.
We would love for all of y'all to come if possible. And it's...
Where's that going to be at?
Joe Stock Park.
Okay, April the 11th.
Yeah, April 23rd.
April 23rd.
April 23rd.
April 23rd.
April 23rd.
Friday.
It's on a Friday. Yes. No, Joe Stock right here. Right here.
Yes.
11 to 1.
11 to 1.
11 to 1.
We thank y'all for coming, and we have one here with the seal that y'all can take and display anywhere that you'd like. And thank you for coming tonight and speaking and bringing awareness to this for our county.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
And if anyone has any questions, if y'all have any questions or you just want to learn more about it, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We would love to educate as many people on this as we possibly can. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for doing that for us.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, at this time we have our statistical report that we do every month to give just a brief snapshot of activity within Walker County. With our animal shelter, our intake was 113 dogs for the month and 48 cats. The outtake was 103 dogs and 49 cats. Our code enforcement reviewed 2,625 properties that were in compliance. There was 68 violations or citations or warnings that were given. They were able to close out 12 cases for the month. Our fire department called for services, 218 calls for service handled by 370 responding units. Happy to report there was additional 21 smoke detectors that were installed in people's homes in Walker County in the month of February. And so we're always thankful to see that. So if there's anyone out there that does not have smoke alarms, if you're not concerned, or have concerns that they're not working or issues with those, we ask that you just contact our fire department and they will be happy to come out and check those or install new ones or get you in good shape. Many times you hear people talk about when we have the time change to check your batteries or check your smoke alarms. That's coming up this Sunday. So everybody, all of us, need to check our smoke alarms this weekend. Well, we've got it on our mind during the time change because smoke alarms do save lives. It's very, very important for us all. Our litter control team picked up 14,100 pounds of trash off of our roadsides. Mountain Cove Farms had a great month in February, even being a short month with 54 nights stayed. So we're tickled with those results. Our planning single-family homes, new construction, 9 permits were pulled. That's 24 for the year already. So in the first 2 months, we've had 24 people come and pull permits to build new homes in Walker County. Media impressions at 38, additional Facebook followers for the month at 87, 57 posts on our Facebook page, 46,726 visits to our website. We added 445 newsletter subscribers. A lot of that was driven when people would call to sign up for their COVID vaccine. We would ask them if they wanted to be added to the newsletter, and also if they wanted to be added to our emergency notification system, our Siren GPS, that we're able to push out emergency notifications by text, email, and phone. So we were very happy that we had 445 people added to that list in February. Patching of potholes, 193. Our transit trips at 1,080. We did a partnership recently we talked about with Roper Corporation of transporting employees from the Hardys in Rossville, Chickamauga, and Lafayette. So we do have people that are riding and taking advantage of that service to gain employment in Roper. So a lot of times people need employment, but they don't have a car. And if they had a car, they could get a job. If they had a job, they could get a car. So it's kind of, you know, how that goes. And so this gives an opportunity for people to get public transportation at the low cost of $4 per trip. And it's pick them up at any of the 3 Hardys and take them to the door at Roper. And when they get off the shift, we go back and pick them up and take them back to where we picked them up at whichever Hardy's location. So it's a great partnership with Roper, and it's working out very well, and we have riders that are participating in that program. So at this time, again, we've changed up our agenda a little bit to make it easier on you that attend. We're going to go down the line here and see if there's any commissioners that have any comments before we exit for a period of time into an executive session. So we'll start down here with Commissioner Blakemore, and I think he's got some exciting things coming up in his district.
Yes, we're fundraising to build a new playground, the Rossville Community Playground at the Rossville Rec. Go check out the Facebook. It's Operation Rossville Playground. We have partnered with Robert Wardlaw. He's going to cook barbecue March the 20th from 10 to 1 while supplies last. And that's going to be at the Rossville Civic Center. And we will allow to eat there and fellowship, or you can get it to go.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and for your participation. As always, I'd like to thank you guys for what y'all do. I know that's kind of a tough job, but it's very needed. Other than that, like I said, I would encourage anyone to reach out with any ideas, questions, or concerns. We all have district websites. Mine is District2 at walkerga.us. I have to get that straight. But no, I would encourage anybody in District 2 or in any other citizen that would have questions, please reach out to us. We need to hear what you need so we can help you make it happen. So thank you again for your participation.
Thank you. Mr. Hart?
I do have some exciting news for District 3, especially the City of Lafayette received a huge grant this week from Lyndhurst Foundations, Georgia Municipal Association, and the Georgia Cities Foundation to fully fund a partnership with the University of Georgia to work with the Downtown Renaissance Strategic Vision and Planning Process. That's big. RSVP. Because the plan was fully funded by grant funding, the city does not have to put forward a local match, so taxpayers do not shoulder any cost in this. Both the City of Lafayette and the University of Georgia are joining forces to revitalize downtown Lafayette, our county seat. And they have asked me to be a member on this plan and to sit on the steering committee to represent the county. So I'm looking real forward to working with Mayor Arnold and his team on this. It's something we met about this week, and it's just kicking off. There's a lot of information about that on Facebook. If you Facebook, look at it. It's an exciting time for Lafayette there. Another thing I want to mention, at our high school, I talked about our basketball team last week. We're really proud of them here in Lafayette. They went on and placed in the top 8 in the state for the 3rd year in a row. So that's a great accomplishment that those kids made out there. Also at our high school, in our FFA program, our environmental and natural resource team placed 2nd in the area, and they'll compete at state in a couple weeks. So that's a great thing for all the ag folks out there. We're really proud of that, and the high school are putting in the efforts there. One thing I want to mention that affects everybody in Walker County is, every district is the new VA clinic that opened in Chattanooga. It opened about 2 weeks ago on Shallowford Road up there, and it services all veterans in this area, which is about 4,500 people in Walker County, but they live in every district. I was there for a physical this week, and it's just an outstanding facility up there. So if you know veterans, or if you are a veteran, get up there, take advantage of it, because federal tax dollars went towards that, and it does a lot for our county. The last thing I want to mention is next Tuesday in Walker County, we're voting on an E-Splosh, the 1 cent sales tax for the school system. So that is very important for all districts in Walker County also. It's not a new sales tax, it's just a continuation of the tax that was put in place in 1997. So it really supports our school system. It's not anything new that we're already paying. A lot of people ask me what it's going to pay for. It's doing a lot of additions to schools, some technology improvements, purchase of new school buses. But the one thing that really excites everybody the most about it is it's going to construct 4 new gymnasiums at every middle school. So please get out, support that. If you know people, it's the only thing on the ballot next Tuesday, but it's very important that we get that passed for our school system because they do a great job over there. So thank you.
Mr. Hart.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stoltz.
Yes, sir. To second what Commissioner Askew said, thank you guys for the wonderful job that you do. It's a tough job, but thank you very much for serving our community. Also want to say thank you to a few folks. Our local health department worked at the Civic Center this week, got a lot of vaccinations and a lot of arms, and that is a wonderful thing. We are making some headway on vaccinations and doing very well, I think. Would you agree with that, Mr. Chair? And it's just very exciting. We're gonna defeat this virus, and I'm just extremely excited about it. Also want to thank our fire department for providing support services, Memorial EMS for having a unit there in the event of an emergency, a medical emergency. So I just want to thank all those guys for doing a wonderful job. And if you would like a vaccine, if you've not had a vaccine, and you fit into the eligibility requirements, call our hotline, set up an appointment. Also, just want to thank Catoosa County. They helped us out with some extra vaccinations. That was very helpful of them, vaccinating our citizens. They're great neighbors, and just wanted to say thanks to those guys as well.
Very good. Yeah, and I'll just like to add to what Commissioner Stoltz says. Just hats off to everyone that's been participating in the vaccine drive that we did this week. Dr. Toomey from the state, our commissioner of public health, came up and visited with us about 2 weeks ago and spent 2 hours with us, and we had some very productive conversation, and they were very impressed with our level of commitment of county government, and also with the call center that we put in place to support our public health department. And I think that was a catalyst to help us transition to get some Pfizer vaccines. We had only had the Moderna up to this point, but they saw that we had a good plan, we had the support, and that we could pull off a larger vaccine drive. And so, as Commissioner Stoltz mentioned, we partnered with the health department, emergency services and fire department, CHI Memorial, our call center. It was pretty much all hands on deck, and I think they vaccinated over 1,100 people in the last 3 days. That has got us completely caught up on our backlog that we had. Again, thanks to our partners and friends over in Catoosa County, they helped us get that list knocked out, and so we're very appreciative of that. And so we're caught up, and so there are some new guidelines coming out on the 15th, which lowers the age to age 55. So be sure and look at our website and our Facebook pages for those details on that. We're trying to get vaccines out as quick as possible. And now that we have access to both the Pfizer and the Moderna, it's really going to allow us to move much faster. And having a large guaranteed quantity that we've had this week, and being able to do a mass vaccination, we was able to do that at our Civic Center and Ag Center, where it was a drive-through service. You did have to have an appointment, so we made sure we had allocation and could space time-wise out, but we had 4 lanes going, and Commissioner Stoltz was actually there, actually helping with the vaccines with his medical profession. So thank you for coming and doing that and going over and above being a commissioner to take part of that. So that was very, very helpful to the support team there of the health department. So just great collaboration, both locally and abroad. We had a visit today from Dade County. They came over today and visited and was looking at our call center and wanting to be able to replicate. And so just everybody's trying to work together to get as many vaccinations out. And it's not about what county or what city you live in. It's about our community as a whole and everybody working together. And so that's really taken off that we can get more vaccines. So that ends our time of our commissioner comments. And at this time, do we have a motion to go into our executive session?
Make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss personnel matters.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Askew. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I have a second by Commissioner Blakemore. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting stands adjourned till we complete our executive session. Once our executive session is over, we will be back. If there's any board actions to take at that time, we will. We appreciate everyone being here. If you leave in the interim, thank you all for coming, and thank everyone for watching at home. And we stand adjourned at this time. Okay, this may seem kind of silly. But I'm going to call us back to order. There was not any action to be taken from our executive session at this time. But at this time, we'll move for a motion to adjourn our meeting at this time.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that
I have a
motion.
motion by Commissioner Blakemore and a second by Commissioner Askew. Any further discussion about adjourning? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is adjourned. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
I know that seems kind of silly.